afternoon. Happy Wednesday. Can you believe it? Midweek already. What a time it's been. I've been looking forward to today because I need some flower therapy and I needed some time with my tulips. As we all know, it's been a little difficult, but we're here and we're surrounded by flowers. We've got beauty. Life is good. And boy, am I thankful for coffee. Oh my gosh. Today has been crazy busy. Michelle, Ricky, and myself were all at a high school floral design challenge. One of our local wholesalers, Frank Adams, sponsored this and brought in high schoolers from 5 different schools. And they had a competition. And you got voted off. That was the hard part. I didn't like that. That was not a lot of fun. But the competition was grand fun. So just to kind of kick this off, a shout out to the 5 schools that did fabulous. We had Evergreen High School, we had Hudson's Bay High School, Mountain View, Heritage, and Woodland. 3 students from each on a team, so 15 students competing. They had 3 projects to do. One was flowers to wear, and some did crowns, some did corsages, some did pocket squares. There was a variety of different things. Then they had to decorate a cake, a real cake, which we got to eat later, so that was pretty exciting. Yeah, sugar, caffeine, in my element. Then the 3rd project was bouquets, and they had a wedding bouquet, an attendant bouquet, and a toss bouquet. And they had to do all 3 of those in 50 minutes. Oh my gosh. It was amazing, the quality that came. So you 15 students, I'm hoping you watch this on replay, because I think right now you're probably crashed and going, oh my gosh, what have we been through? But congratulations to you. And winner, Woodland High School. Congratulations, so proud of you. But all 15 students were exemplary. It was out of this world. So now we came dashing back. I got in maybe an hour and a half ago. I'm like, okay, I can do this, I can do this. Michelle just got in, Ricky just got back because we all had to come in and get ready. And so in the studio, Teacher Michelle, Ricky, they're with me. Online, we've got Susie, and we've got Caledonia, and we've got David. So it's a fairly full house, and we're talking Easter. So I'm going to do 3 arrangements today. Oh gee, what a surprise. So my question to you, do you want, which one first? You get to choose. I have one that's going to be yellow. Notice my yellow shirt, daffodils, yellow earrings, daffodils. Thank you, Michelle. I am all ready for spring. Or, yellow is one choice, hot pink and purple. I've got these really fabulous hot pink garden roses. Okay. 3rd choice is going to be a mixture with greens and lavenders and soft pink. So get your votes in. I'm going to drink a little coffee. Do housekeeping. If you're on your phone, turn it sideways. Picture will be bigger. If you're on your computer, go full screen. If you're on TV, hi, how are you? So get in there your vote. Do we want yellow, hot pink, or the pastels? Those are the 3 choices. And then also type in who you are, where you're from, and let's get started. While I'm getting things ready here, I've got water, I've got flowers, I've got my turntable. I just need to know which one I'm doing. Is there anything in there yet to know?
Well, they're slowly chiming in on YouTube. So far I see Christy and Robin and Andrea and Grace, and David's with us on YouTube. I think he's on Facebook too. He's got a hand on each computer probably.
I love it. Hey David, I miss you. It's been a long day, but here we are.
And Facebook looks like they're getting warmed up still, so.
Okay. Well, one thing thing I need to do while you guys are chiming in, yellow, hot pink, pastel, which one first? You get them all, so just let me know what you want to do. The daffodils that I'm going to work with are grown right here outside of Portland at Barefoot Farms, our own graduate, Linda DePersis. And she has so many beautiful ones, but their heads are all kind of out, and I really kind of want them up. So what I'm going to do is use an 18 gauge wire, pierce it in, and then carefully feed it through so that it captures up into the base, the calyx, and then holds it upright. Magic. You may have seen that on one of our Tulip Tuesdays, because we do so many different things where we show you how to do the mechanics to get it through. So I'm going to go ahead and get a couple of these done so that we're ready for later. She has the soft yellow, the buttery, and then look at the bright yellow. Are those just amazing? So then, Ricky, Michelle, what's up?
While you're wiring those, I want to give a shout out to Jessie over on YouTube. She's joining us from Point Roberts Flowers Club.
Oh my gosh, Point Roberts, yay. Okay, hi Jessie, glad you could be here. Our very own Susie, you all know Susie, say, hey Susie. She did a presentation yesterday up in Point Roberts to the Garden Club, sharing with them all the information that's available so that when you take flowers from your garden, that you can bring beautiful things into your home. So anybody else from Point Roberts, chime in. I want to see you, say hey, so that we know you're here. And tulips, shout out to Susie for going out and representing. She was the tulip of the day yesterday, and I think she had a group of almost 20 that came in to learn about what you can learn at Floral Design Institute by just going over to our YouTube page and searching how to take care of lilacs, how to take care of something else. So working with flowers from your garden and bringing them indoors and keeping them beautiful. So glad you're with us, Jessie, and she's the first timer, I believe. So everybody, shout out first timer Jessie. Any other first timers out there? See what's coming up.
I don't see any on Facebook yet, but we do have some folks chiming in on your colors.
Okay, what's the story?
So top color at the moment is yellow, and then Roxy said do pastel, then hot pink, and then yellow. Just hit them all.
We will hit them all. I'm planning on it. I just need to sit and touch flowers. You know, when life gives you surprises and things you're not expecting, one of the best things you can do is step aside and nurture your soul. And for me, the best way to do that is to be with flowers. If I'm having a bad day or a bad life moment or just something that doesn't feel good, I go and gather flowers and create. And it's amazing how quickly I can feel better. It's that little bit of Mother Nature, that bit of beauty that makes everything okay again. So we're talking Easter today. Easter is one of my personal favorite holidays, absolutely love. And traditionally, David and I hosted Easter for my family, and I have a large family, so that could bring in 30 plus people that we were doing Easter for. Then life changes, COVID, all those things, and we used to always use this warehouse, the Creative Center. Well, with COVID, we moved the classroom into the warehouse, so I don't have my empty space anymore where I can set up table after table after table, and having 30 people in my condo doesn't really work too well. It's kind of cozy. We did it once, and once was enough. So this year's a little different. We're not hosting Easter, so we're doing it with just the two of us. It's gonna be kind of quiet, a little bit different, but I still have my Easter eggs out. I still have the house filled with Easter flowers. I've got my little rubber duckies out there that are Easter duckies, because I do love the holiday. So I guess that'll be my next question. I'm gonna do yellow first, that's decided. So I'm gonna stop fluffing daffodils and go ahead and pull that out. We'll start with yellow. But what are you doing for Easter? What flowers are in your house? What's going on? All those things. Can't use this time because my container is very long. So I'm just gonna trade it out. And for this one, I'm going to use this long rectangle. You may have seen me work with this before. I have waterproofed it using Flex Seal. And that was on a Tulip Tuesday. If you don't know how that's done, go over to YouTube and the Tulip Tuesday playlist, and it demonstrates the whole Flex Seal story. So you can take a container that isn't watertight, make it watertight so you don't have to worry. So I've got that, and then I need a cutting board. And then I stopped at the grocery store. I've been just beside myself because I couldn't find wheatgrass. I think you all have been out buying up the wheatgrass because I couldn't get any. I have to have wheatgrass for Easter. That's just sort of a rule in my world. So finally today, I was cutting it down to the wire, I found some wheatgrass. So this one is going to my house. I can promise you that. It belongs at my house. Plus it will have daffodils, so that's appropriate. But when I put them in, it's too tall, so I can't just drop them. So what I have to do is pull them out of the container and then cut it down. Now I know some of you on the Tulip Bunch were asking about wheatgrass, and I think it was Drake that said, just go to the grocery store. And that's always my response too, just go to the grocery store, but my grocery store didn't have it for a while, and I'm just thinking there were too many people going to the grocery store. But Drake is correct. Wheatgrass is often in the produce section, because a lot of people juice it. And look at that, how perfect. So I just need to pull them all out. I want them to be about the same size so I can measure from my first one. Okay. And then cut it down.
Well, Linda chimed in from Barefoot Farms and said, I'm going to fill my house with vases of daffs because I always forget to save some for us.
Oh, Linda, and your daffodils are so beautiful. There were so many choices. I had a hard time picking which ones to bring. And I just picked two because I thought, how many daffodils do you need, Leanne? Be realistic. But man, I could have taken bucket after bucket after bucket because they were so beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. I know a lot of you have been asking when our next class is, and I'm like, well, you know, next fall, because we switch out in the summertime. We've got a few one-day classes, so we've got the Bespo Floral Design and the Advanced Wedding Trends class and such coming up. But for the full professional course, during the summer months, we don't carry on classes because that's when we offer private classes and individual instruction, and also the staff, we all get our own education and keep expanding our skills. So I know Linda's coming in for a private class in April, and so that's going to be so much fun. She'll be here, and we've got a program written just for her. But if any of you other are thinking about that, summer months are when we can do private classes, because that's where we leave that open. And then if you're looking for the professional class, it's available online. That's open enrollment. That's always available. And then the next one after that will be mid-September when we all pop back in to get ready for the new year with the autumn back to school. It's like, oh my gosh. So I did my cutting not totally equal, so I'm going to swap it out a little bit so that it looks like that was intentional. You know, that's what you do. When you mess up a little bit, you just change it out and it's intentional, and then you didn't mess it up. So there we go, it's beautiful. And plus, the grass is going to grow and relax. So I left a little extra room so that as it grows, it can expand and fill out the container well, and it'll just actually start growing crazy. Teacher Michelle.
Grace said that if you have a hard time finding wheatgrass at the grocery store, try a pet store because you can get the cat grass, which is essentially that.
Oh, interesting, pet stores. That makes sense. So, okay, people, if you can't find wheatgrass at your grocery, check out a pet store. And I guess the other thing is, if you are a farmer type person, it's easy to grow. You could grow your own. I'm not a farmer type person, so I just look to buy it. But putting that in, I've got my base. And one of the things that's great about wheatgrass is it becomes interactive because it continues to grow. And so you can actually mow it. I know, mow your centerpiece, but you can, or let it just keep growing and become an overgrown garden. Then to work with this, you could put any type of water tube in to hold your flowers, but I have some that I absolutely adore that I've used over and over. They are glass tubes on a glass pick, so that you can actually put them in and you get the beauty of the glass vessel along with the water source for your flowers. And they come in different sizes. And before you ask, right now I'm going to tell you, I decided that this live was flower therapy for me. And so I just went through my aisles because I could finally find things. Thank you, Wendy. And I went through and just grabbed some things that I've had forever and decided that that's what I was going to use. So no, I don't know where you're going to find these, but you could use any water tube. And you could do your own research and search out. If you find them, post it in the Tulip Bunch so that everybody can get them if they desire. But don't ask me because I have no idea. You can't buy them from me. No, I don't sell them. But I do like them. And I can just fill them in however I want. And then once that's in place, I can go back and using a test tube filler, just fill them up so that they're ready. And when we do the test tube filler, we fill it with water that's pre-mixed with flower food so that it's all ready to go. Because yes, you do want flower food with your flowers, so we just fill the filler with the food and everything so that when we put them in, we're ready. Notice I'm not filling them to the tip top because when I put the stem in, it's going to displace water. Yes, you end up having to refill these. So if you do this for yourself, just know you're going to have to refill because it drinks it up. If you sell it to a customer, send it with a little note that says, be sure to add water. I'm thirsty, be sure to add water, so that they know to keep it alive. And then while you're there, you can go ahead and water your grass a little bit. Oh yeah, get a little water in there, make them all happy. Happy, happy. Yeah. Isn't it grand what we can do with flowers? Then, just dropping in. How cool is that? You can see I've already wired these. No, I didn't think about how long they needed to be. I'm just sort of doing it, whatever. If they're too long, you can cut them. Daffodils are wonderful. And we all know that daffodils don't play well with other flowers while they're hydrating, so this solves that problem. Makes it so that they can just tuck right in without an issue. I'm going to use one more tube over here, I think. So I need to put some water in there.
They're all giving you a bad time, Leanne, because as soon as you started using the tubes, they're like, where can we get those? And then Jim says, I knew she was going to say she didn't have them.
I know, sorry people, but today was a crazy busy day. It's been a crazy busy time. As you all know, it's been a little different around here. And we had a class yesterday. They were doing Wedding Flower Boot Camp, huge class. There was 9 of them in with us. So teacher Michelle and I were just racing against the clock to take care of that. And then to go with the high school kids today with 15 students, plus their teachers, plus their support team. We didn't have a lot of time. And so I just decided that I was going to create beauty for me. Share it with you, yes. But I picked things I knew I would like to do that would nurture my soul and that would add beauty to the world without adding stress. You know, sometimes that's really all you can ask for is creating, enjoying, designing, but doing it stress-free so that it's not quite so crazy. So those high schoolers that might be watching, shout out again, Evergreen High School, yay team! Hudson's Bay High School, yay team! Mountain View High School, yay team! Heritage High School, yay! Woodland High School, yay! Winning team, Woodland. Pretty exciting. A lot of you probably don't know this, but my beginning in becoming a florist was not here at Floral Design Institute. Some of you might think that was where I began, but no. My beginning was in high school in Vancouver, Washington, so same as these other schools that were in Washington. They're not all in Vancouver, but in Washington. I started at Columbia River High School in the horticulture and floriculture, and that's how I found my career and my passion and my love. So it was very fun for me to go back and see the teachers and students and kind of relive my high school years going, oh my gosh, this is so cool. What an opportunity. So a little bit of muscari, daffodils. I can sort of stop there. I mean, this is the type of design that is effortless, but yet fabulous, because it's so easy to do. So Point Roberts people, okay? Gather flowers from your garden, get some tubes. You'll have to Google it to find them, but you can do that. You're grown-up people. Find the wheatgrass at the grocery store, and look what you can do. Easy, fabulous, fun. So what do you think? Do you like this one? Would it be okay for your Easter table? I'm gonna go to my Easter table, but maybe you'd like it for your Easter table too. So, move this over. Let's see, we're gonna just go this way. We're gonna have too much over here if I don't. Okay, let's go to pink. Hot pink. I knew I wanted to do hot pink. I have these amazing garden roses. These are all from Garden Roses Direct, and I even have a name here. Let's see. It is Hetty, H-E-T-T-I-E. So this is the Hetty Garden Rose. It's not a lot of fragrance, maybe no fragrance, but beautiful face, hot pink, pretty good petal count on this, and a relatively long-lasting garden rose. I've been really happy with the bloom when I've used it in the past. So these came in from Garden Roses Direct a week ago, so they're already a week old. Yes, they were in the flower cooler, but garden roses coming in direct like that last and last and last. So it's an incredibly good value and investment. Then, 'tis the season for jasmine, and jasmine is so fragrant. I have some of this actually on my dining table right now. I have some jasmine at home because it holds so well and it blooms out with this most beautiful white bloom that's super fragrant and super wonderful. Then found these today. Kimber, one of our graduates, works at the wholesale house, and she was storing all my stuff for me and holding it while I was working with the high school. And then I went back to get it, and she had a huge package package of these for another client, and I'm like, oh, I have to have those. Look at the face. Let's see if I can get that into the close-up camera. The face, the coloration is amazing. It's just gorgeous. So that super hot fuchsia color, and then the faces that give you that green so that it just really pops, and incredible fragrance. Absolute fabulous fragrance. So those are my materials. With the stock, I want the foliage all gone. The blooms will do better if I go ahead and remove the foliage, and then I look to see if any of the foliage is, or if the blooms, any of them are damaged. If they are, just remove them, because sometimes the lower ones can be. These are perfect. There is absolutely nothing wrong with these. These are just probably some of the best stock that I've seen in a very long time. This one, see how that's linear, a little taller? I'm not going to use that one. I want the ones that are still kind of short and puffy, because that'll fit my design better. So I got 5 of those, laying them out.
I noticed the last time we had stock in the classroom, it wasn't very fragrant. Is that more fragrant this time?
This one is super fragrant.
Okay.
Yeah, this one's going to be an allergen for somebody. But yeah, it is funny. Different varieties are not always as fragrant, and I don't know if it's the season or at what stage it was harvested. Or exactly how it is, but it isn't always as fragrant. This time it is. This time it's just absolutely fabulous. Now, those of you that have taken class with me, you know that I always say, prep your materials, get everything ready. So you see how I'm laying it out and organizing before I begin, because that way when I go to design, everything falls into place well, and I don't have to worry about it. Waiting for another long one. There we go. That's a nice long piece so that I can do that. So I've got jasmine, stock, some roses, and with the roses, I'm going to go ahead and take their leaves off too, because most of them will be below the water line. I'm not worrying about their thorns. The thorns shouldn't be a problem, so you could remove them, but it's not a necessity. And if it's not a necessity, I always figure, why do the work? So I'm not going to. I'm just removing what I need to remove, which is the leaves that could be below the water line. Okay. Then as I was gathering my things, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, I was going up and down the aisles in the profile, and I'm like, okay, what else do I have? And I found the base, which was perfect, yeah. I'm like, okay, but what am I going to do? How am I going to use it? And I found this, which I believe probably teacher Michelle made, because she's the queen of wires and wire work. Maybe I made it, who knows? But I thought, oh my gosh. So it's a combination of purple aluminum wire, hot pink aluminum wire, and then silver flat wire in the 1/4 inch, and then a bit of silver aluminum wire. Then it's lashed together with a little bit of silver bullion wire to give it some decorative movement. Then it's tied with 3 18-gauge wires that can be used to support the bouquet, so that you've got a hand-tied base. Then you could go back and add more ribbon. It has a little bit of ribbon in it. In fact, let's do. So we'll just add a little bit of that too. It's just take some and then tie it in place. You could leave the tail if you want. It doesn't matter. And then weaving in and around just to get a little bit of excitement going on. So those of you that have had the advanced class, the same technique, but instead of using the rustic wire, using the metallic wires, so it gives you a little glitzier look, and obviously no base, so slightly different, but you got this, you know how to do it, no surprises. So what else is going on out there while I get a little more ribbon into this?
Well, Scott said he has started growing stock in his backyard, and so far it's going well. And Sue said she tried it last year, but her daughter-in-law's sheep ate it. So maybe she won't be planting stock again this year.
I love it. Oh my gosh. I was just looking at places that are doing Easter brunch around here in town, and there is a restaurant that is actually bringing in baby sheep and setting up a petting zoo during the brunch. And I'm like, I want to go. I don't care if I eat. I just want to go pet the sheep. How fun is that? I was like, oh my gosh, I want to do that. David kind of rolled his eyes at me. You're gonna go pet sheep. Yeah, and then you're gonna eat with dirty hands. Whose idea was that? I thought it was good, but I thought it was a great idea, perfectly honest. But
I love that you're adding ribbon to that, Leanne. You and I were talking yesterday about how ribbon's coming back on trend, but we're not seeing people starting to use it yet, so I'm glad you're showing that. Makes me happy.
yeah, it's interesting because everything goes in phases, and for a while there, it was almost like anti-ribbon. And now I'm starting to see more ribbon being used again. It's just like baby's breath was everywhere, and then it was nowhere. Everybody hated baby's breath, and then now it's kind of coming back again. In fact, it's been back. Some of you hate it, and I'm sorry I brought that up, but it's kind of like glitter. You either love it or you hate it, but you have to accept the fact that some customers, that's what they like. And so I've never been truly an anti-ribbon person. What I find is I get tired of tying bows, and those of you who have had class that had to learn to tie a bow, it's like, dang, I'm just never going to do ribbon in my store. But this would be an alternate where you don't really have to tie a bow, but you get the look of the ribbon within it. And it gives a little more up-to-date vibe without an actual bow on it. Okay? Then once you've got that, you could go back, taking the jasmine, and treat that like ribbon, and winding it in and through and around, so that you get an organic treatment. But notice I'm leaving the stem down, so it's going to be in water. So it's going to continue to bloom out and be fragrant and fabulous, but I get that little bit of movement throughout. Another one.
And those are still going to bloom and open, right? Even
They will.
at this point?
Yeah, they'll be beautiful. Always surprised as long as you keep it moist. If you let it dry out, so sorry Charlie, now you just have a dead vine. But as long as you keep it with hydration, it's going to last for literally weeks and bloom out and continue to leaf out and be just grand. So just feeding a little more in here. And then thinking about how I want to balance it. Maybe a little bit more on this side. So Teacher Michelle, did you have a favorite project that the high school did? And they did the three. They did the bouquets, and then they did the cake, and then they did flowers to wear. Of those, did you have a favorite?
Really good question. I loved the crowns that the teams did in the wearables. Everybody's was just a little different. They all used different mechanics, which I thought was very interesting and exciting that they weren't all doing the same thing. I actually liked the cake portion the best because again, they all did something different, and two of them worked with the melted chocolate, which is my favorite.
I guess that's one of the things that I liked about it too, was that there was no copying of each other, and they used so many different mechanics. There was hand ties, there was holders, there was hand wired, there was weaving. Very, very, very nice to see so much diversity, which also means that those high school teachers are doing a fabulous job teaching their students to explore alternative mechanics for things. So, you know, the one team had used the slanted bouquet holder from Oasis. Another one took the time to build an armature, kind of like what I'm doing here. And then the bouquet hung, which was very innovative, very, very creative. We were talking as judges, it would have been fun to have a category for creativity because there was so much creativity shown. I was quite impressed, and the timing that they did it in was pretty spectacular too.
Yeah, I was quite impressed with the time frame. When I was calling out the times, my hands were sweating and I wasn't the one doing the work, but it was making me nervous with the times.
No, I was a wreck too. I was like, oh my gosh, how are we gonna get done? But they got done and they did well, and I am so, so proud of them. Pretty grand. Okay, so you can see everything that I had set out, I've used, but I've got a hole. You know how you do that and you end up with a hole and you just gotta go back and you think, well, I need another one. And then you blow your profits because you had a hole and you just added another flower. But since I'm not selling this, I don't have to deal with that. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm gonna go ahead and just fit it in there. Then thinking about my link, I need to add a little water.
Kathy asked, she missed, but what else besides stock and roses do you have in there at this point? Anything?
Actually, I've got jasmine vine. I stuck in at the beginning, so I did the jasmine vine and wove that around. I'm going to add one more little piece there because I just feel like it needs it. And then the stock, and then the garden rose, which was, my glasses back on so I can see. The garden rose was Hetty from Garden Roses Direct. And then it pretty much is done at that point, although I still feel like I need one more stalk in here too. So I'm going to take one more and go ahead and slide that in. It was interesting, all of this stock, when I bought it, the ends still had roots on it, where they had just basically pulled it up, because a stalk is one item down into the ground and the roots, and once you cut it, it's done. You need to plant new. And so it all had the little roots on the end. It was very cool. I should have left one so that you could see it, but I didn't. Badly, and oh well, it's long gone. Then I have to make a decision, do I want any foliage in here or not? If I did foliage, you know me, I would do my fascia because I love my fascia. And you can put it underneath, but you know what? I just feel like it takes away from the framework, so I'm not going to. I'm just going to leave it as is, hold it up against to judge my size, and then go through and clip it into the garbage can. Now you know me, I don't want it on the floor. And then dropping it down in, see if I guessed correctly. I think I can take it down just a little bit more. Chop, chop, chop.
Those Hetty roses on camera almost vibrate. They are so
There's such intensity of color. Yeah. So then just giving it a little push so that the collar goes over the vase a bit, and that's what anchors it in place. So you don't have to have tape, you don't have to wire it. It's self-fulfilling mechanics that just lock it right in. And then if you wanted to, you could always go back and add a little bit of ribbon, even over the top, just kind of weaving it in. Notice I'm just tucking it. Doesn't even need to be wired or glued, because it's not going to jump off, but it brings the color up from the base into the face. And I'm going to tip it just a little bit, but trying not too much because I don't want to spill. So you can see how that just pulls the color upward so that it goes in there. So, okay, let's set that one aside. 2 done, 1 more to go. And this one was inspired by lilacs. Was the first lilacs of the season for me. I had not seen any, and I saw those come in, and I was just like, I have to have those. I'm like, oh my gosh, lilacs, how exciting. So there's my lilacs. Okay. While I get my mechanics ready, what else is going on out there? Any more Point Roberts people?
Ricky, I think you were watching the Point Roberts folks. I haven't seen any, but I'm more on Facebook today.
I saw Rhiannon pop in over on YouTube here from Point Roberts as well.
Okay, glad to have you. So that's another first timer. That's exciting.
A lot of folks are Googling the glass tubes that you were using, trying to see if they could find something similar.
Okay, if you find it, post it on there. Cool. Yeah, I knew you guys could cope with this. You're big people. You can figure it out. Makes me think of class when we send you out with your study guides and say this is for self-directed study, and you have to figure it out on your own, because in the real world you're going to have to do a lot on your own. Yes, Teacher Michelle?
So Jody had a question. She wondered if you could cut potted tulips and use them in arrangements.
Certainly, you could, and if you wanted to, you could even take the potted tulips and use the bulb, and that's kind of fun to do too. And there's, I'm sure, a video in our video library. If you go to the flowerschool.com website and then go to the resources tab, and then from there you'll go to the video resource library and put in tulip bulbs or bulb flowers, and I bet you'll find how to design with the bulbs, because that does work out really well and gives you a little bit different look, kind of fun. So what I'm doing is creating an armature of willow. There's so many different ways to do mechanics anymore, and by using willow down inside, it almost gives you a feel of rooting so that it seems almost organic. And putting willow inside the water does not shorten the life of your flowers. It's not a bad thing at all. And yet it gives you that armature that you need to support your flowers. And then you can always go back and add some that comes out, you know, if you want, or you can keep it all tucked in. It's really kind of up to you how you want to go about it. But just adding in the willow, getting it down in there. You need fresh willow. It needs to be pliable to make it work. If it's dried already, it's not going to work very well for you. And then you will cry, and then I don't like it when you cry, and so then it's a problem. Then adding water, pre-mixed with flower food.
Mary Ellen popped on and said, "Thank you for helping today at the market. You are a busy lady."
Hi, Mary Ellen. It was so fun to see your class, well, not your class, but to see the students you've been working with and catch up with you. You look great. Retirement has been good for you, but as we were talking, you never really retire. Once in the flower world, you stay in the flower world. It gets in your blood, and it's too fun. You can't just walk away. No, no.
Oh, those are pretty.
I needed some blooming branches because David has been busy working on updating our flower library so that it's got more information in there. If you go to flowerschool.com and then the resources and you go to the flower library, you'll see there's so much information there on how to take care of your flowers. Well, he's been adding new ones, and he discovered that we didn't have blooming branches in there. So he says, you gotta buy some blooming branches and get them in so that Ricky can take the picture, so that we can put the picture on the website. So I bought blooming branches, and then I thought, well, I need to save some of them for me. So I'm going to put some quince in here. So quince is my blooming branch, just letting it come out like that. And maybe one more piece here. And blooming branches, if you look at the care and handling, and there's also, I know there's a YouTube playlist with Tulip Tuesday, and I have blooming branches on there as well. They do better if you just break them and rough them up. They don't do as well with just a straight cut. So, and lilacs, same thing. If you break it, get it really roughed up, and then even whittle it a bit, it will last so much better and will open nicely.
We had that discussion, or that question rather, came up yesterday in the class. What about smashing the lilac stems or the branches with a hammer?
You know, it's so funny because when I was taught to be a florist, we all had hammers in the back room, and you would get in a woody stem and you would hammer it and just beat that baby up so bad. No, don't do that. That was old science that is inaccurate. We now know it's vitally important not to destroy that vascular structure. You want to rough it up to where it's clear so that you've got good, ample drinking ability, but you don't want to crush it and destroy it. So no, do not hit it with a hammer. I will hurt you if you start hammering flowers. That would not be good. So no, no, no. So I've got 5 stems of lilac in there. I'm going to stop, I think, at that point for a second. Put these back in water. And then I also had viburnums, snowball viburnum. Look how beautiful, that soft green. It too is a very woody, so giving it and whittling it a bit so that it will continue to drink well, letting it drape outward.
They're loving this, even just to where you are right now with the curly willow and the branches and the lilacs.
You know, using curly willow as a mechanic is one of my favorites because it's easy and it adds such a beautiful look to things that is just kind of fresh. Seemed very appropriate for Easter. Easter is one of those holidays that doesn't have quite the sales that we used to have. I was talking to a friend and we were talking about how in the old days you would go to the grocery store and at every single checkout stand there was that box with a cymbidium orchid corsage that you would have for Mother's Day and for Easter, and everybody had a cymbidium orchid corsage. You don't see those anymore. It's not at the checkout, which is really too bad because it was kind of fun to see everybody in their Easter finery and wearing a corsage. So maybe that's something you want to bring back. Making Easter sales now is a little bit trickier. You've got to surprise the client, give them that little bit of delight of, oh my gosh, look at that, how beautiful, I really love that, because it's not considered to be just standard procedure to go buy an Easter lily and then a cymbidium corsage. Now they're looking for something a little different, a little bit more exciting, maybe wheatgrass with daffodils tubed in, or maybe interesting mechanics with a variety of materials in it so that you get more fun. Look at these, ranunculus are just huge.
Did you get those at market today?
I did, local grown.
Wow.
So fabulous. Yeah.
Those are big. Like, hold one in your hand, Leanne. Those are massive.
And these aren't even the biggest ones. Let's see if I can get it up there. So you can see you know, it's the size of my palm. So beautiful.
I think if ranunculus had fragrance, they might be the perfect flower.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen one with fragrance, so I just don't think that's a thing, which
No.
is too bad. I love the fact that they look fragile, but they are not fragile. They're very sturdy. They make beautiful corsages and boutonnieres. They work well into wedding work. Oh, you know what? I didn't put my turntable back up here, which of course I don't even know where, oh, there it is. Like, where did I lose it? Oh. We know we have one, so we should tuck it in. But yeah, adding the ranunculus makes that so special. And then I could tuck in a little bit of spray rose. These are so big, I don't know, man, look at that. That's just enormous, it's almost too big. Maybe I'll try this one that's a little smaller and drop it in.
You asked earlier what flowers folks might be using for their Easter decor this year.
Yeah, what's happening?
Yeah, so Lisa said that she is sticking with the classics, Easter lilies. And Sandy said probably potted orchids because she just got back from the New York Botanical Garden from the orchid show.
Oh yeah, that's so spectacular.
And then Victoria wants to use hellebores. She has some growing in her yard, but she's a little concerned about cutting them and using them, what kind of care and handling they might need.
Hellebores you've got to be a little careful with. We do have on the YouTube Tulip Tuesday playlist some instructions on that, so double check there. The key thing is cut them as they've started to mature. I think I have one here. So this is an old stem of hellebores. We've had these for more than a week and they're still quite lovely, but the key, and I'll see if I can get it in here, is that you want the center to start to go to seed. Does that show at all, Ricky?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Okay, but you want it to have started to go to seed and then they'll hold really, really well. If it's immature, then they're not going to hold. They will just wilt and make you crazy. So look at what stage the bud is in opening, and if it has lost the fuzzy in the center and begun to build a little seed pod, then it's going to last and last and last. It's amazing how well it'll last, so you can just enjoy it. But it is very important to know the harvest point. That's probably the biggest deal, is the harvest point. So if I turn that, I'm thinking I want a little more purple in it. And so I've got some purple freesia that will tuck in and give me a little bit more fragrance. So this would be a very fragrant bouquet between the lilacs and the freesia, both of which are quite delightful.
And you get a nice contrasting form with that one too. Gives you a little more pizzazz in it.
Yeah, you know, when you're using all the same shape of flower, it's not nearly as interesting as if you adjust it a bit and look for things that have a different form. Like when we talked to you in basic floral design and choosing flowers that have different shapes. There's the line, mass, form, and filler. And if you use at least 3, your arrangement will be more interesting. And so I have a lot of mass, got a little bit of line, and now this gives me form, which makes it then a more interesting arrangement. Just tucking it down in.
Jan got on late, but she's joining us from the UK and said, fabulous arrangement, Leanne, fabulous.
Thank you, Jan. Today is just kind of things I like, giving myself a little bit of flower therapy and picking just some of my favorite things. So very much fun. So then another question for you all. Okay, you've been a little bit quiet out there today. Which was your favorite? Did you like the pastels that I'm doing now? Or did you prefer the vivid yellow? Or was it the hot pink? Which one did you like the best? Let me know, because I'm always curious to see if you like the same things I like, or if you like something different. Teacher Michelle.
So while they type that in, I have two different flower care and handling questions. One from YouTube asking, do you have to do anything special to condition freesia? And then one on Facebook asking, how about lilacs? Are they long-lasting flowers, or are they just better for event work?
You know, lilacs are not super long-lasting. Generally, anything that is fragrant is going to have a shorter life because the process of giving off fragrance is transpiration, which means they're losing moisture, and so they're not going to hold quite as well. I would say you could still get 3 to 4, maybe 5 days, depending on the temperature and the freshness when you got them in. So it's one of those fleeting beauty items that is such a treat to work with. On freesia, key with them is you're better to buy them when they're still closed like this, although you want them open because that's when you get your beauty. So if you're buying them tighter, you're going to get longer life because it's still going to open. Then as each bloom fades, none of them are really bad, so I don't want to do this. I'm not going to. As the bloom fades, pick it off and remove it, taking even clear down to that seed pod off, because then each of these other little buds will open. And if you religiously remove any dying one, the more mature, it will continue to open, and you can get them open down to almost the very tip. It's kind of fascinating. And again, that makes it an interactive design that you get to participate in, which makes it fun. Makes it very fun. I have some jasmine vines sitting here on my counter, so I'm going to go ahead and put that in.
Have a couple questions on your vase, and I know we got that at the local wholesaler. Is that accent decor?
You know, I believe it is accent decor. I won't swear by it, but I'm pretty sure it is an accent decor vessel. If it's not, it might be UCI, but my guess is accent decor, and then my backup would be UCI. So, and it's only a few years old, so it might still be out there in the marketplace. There's so many things that they keep, updating and changing and adjusting, so then you don't know if you're going to get it the next time you go to hunt for it. But that's also what makes being a florist so much fun, because just as you get bored with something, something else comes out, and then you're looking for it again, and you can't have it, so you discover something else again. But I personally like that. Definitely like that. Coming in, making sure that I get it down into the water.
Well, when you asked for people's favorites, they typed quite quickly. And I would say it is a landslide for this one, for the pastel.
Oh, really?
Not even
Okay.
close.
Same on YouTube.
Okay, so this is your favorite. How cool is that? I guess I kind of like it too, to be perfectly honest. And to me, this really is Easter when you've got those pastels and having the branches and such. Makes me think of going to church on Easter morning, and they would always have some form of flowering branch. Lots of times it was dogwood. This year, Easter's so early that the dogwood hasn't really started blooming out yet. David said he saw some that was starting, but that it was too soon, that it hadn't really done its thing yet. So hopefully in another couple of weeks, it'll be happening. Here in Portland, we had the flowering cherry has been at its peak now for about a week, and now we've had some rain, so it's starting to disappear, but pretty much fun, so.
What's the stinky pear that's around the corner? Is that a Bradford pear that smells so bad? Yeah.
Yeah, it's not my favorite,
No.
because it doesn't have a nice fragrance at all. So again, shout out to Point Roberts Garden Club. So if you were here, I'm glad you joined us. Thanks, Susie, for spreading the Floral Design Institute Flower School word. Shout out to Evergreen, Hudson's Bay, Mountain View, Heritage, and Woodland for your bravery and creativity in the competition today. It was really quite an honor to get to spend the morning with you. Then thank you, Caledonia. Thank you, Susie. Thank you, Ricky. Thank you, Michelle. It takes a village to pull this off. And today, you were here. So thank you. Thank you for giving up an hour of your life to join us. If you wouldn't mind, take a moment, share this out. And then, let's all get out there and do something we love. See you next week.